Hey everybody, welcome to episode 10 of Rooted, the ArtArbor podcast. We made it double digits today, and we are so excited for this episode because we have a very special friend and artist and guest today. I'll let Andrew introduce our guest here.
Yes, just so everyone knows, we're trying something new. We're actually using Riverside FM instead of StreamYard. We had some technical difficulties. And no music, so don't be alarmed. Everything's fine. We're super excited to have Nate Cook, our very, very close friend that we all met at Grand Valley State University. We went to university there. We were in the marching band together there. And let me just start by saying, since we started this podcast, I've been looking forward to having Nate on the show. He's an incredible content creator. I'd say he's a master at it. He's a growth marketer, also master at that, entrepreneur, performer, drummer, musician, poet. Although he's a drummer, but that left hand isn't always where it needs to be, let's be honest. But if you know, you know. So yeah, we're super excited to have Nate on the show today. Give him a warm Arbor welcome.
Thank you. Man, I'm excited to be here. And yeah, my left hand I have old man chops now.
Let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I make stories that either sell things or hopefully make people laugh or feel something. I do that on YouTube Shorts is probably my most popular platform, but I also do that at my job for like mobile apps, AI apps, things like that. And yeah, I try to make stories that have a message, but find that sweet spot between entertainment and empowerment. So you're going to laugh, but you might also think a little bit at the same time.
Yeah, I've always loved that about your content. I mean, you really turned me on the idea of edutainment for the first time years and years ago. And I'll never forget seeing you perform at Calvin College one time. I believe it was Calvin. You did this stand-up spoken word, and it was that perfect combination of educating people and making them think, but also was very entertaining. People were laughing. And that, I think, is starting to catch on more and more so people understand the power and effectiveness of edutainment. Yeah, for you, I guess, where'd that start? I'd love to know the journey of when you came to that kind of like, oh, let's do this together now versus separate.
Yeah, it was actually at GV. I was in some class, I think it was creativity, and you had to teach a lecture on anything you wanted. Any topic, it could be absolutely anything. And so I chose drumming. I drummed for a long time. I was a marching band, loved Drumline the movie. Like that was my whole personality. So I brought my little drum pad, drumsticks. I taught like technique. We were laughing. We were having such a good time. And then I sat down in my seat. And at that time, I was also contemplating my purpose, as you do in college. Yeah. And I was like, wow, I think my purpose is to speak light into the lives of others. It was very broad, but for some reason that made a lot of sense to me at the time. And I wanted to make education entertaining. I'm like, why isn't every class funny? Why isn't every class like our teachers are not just subject matter experts, but they're also like keynote speakers every single day. And it'd be amazing if they could actually take us on a journey, tell stories, and keep us engaged at a deeper level. So that's why I started a thing called Speak Light TV. That was my initial like YouTube channel and everything that I was doing. And I was like, I'm gonna change education forever. And I think I was ahead of my time. Obviously, that was like way before TikTok, Reels, all that, shorts, etc. And yeah, I've really been on that same journey ever since.
Speak Light, you know, that's yeah, I remember that. That was I think it's when you hosted a lot of your like shows in the beginning with like spoken word, right? Was through Speak Light.
Yeah, I think as all artists do, I was trying to figure out my medium, you know? Is it comedy? Is it music? Is it poetry? Is it drumming? Is it, and I was trying a lot of different things, and Speak Light was like my comedy name and my rapper name and my poetry name. And so it was just an evolution, but that was really, I'm grateful for that time because it gave me a sense of purpose and kept me going forward.
Yeah, I will say I forgot to mention in your intro, you're also a talented rapper and comedian. Added to the long list of things, but yeah, you've been having on this journey for a bit with comedy. I mean, I remember back in the day you were at like Tin Can doing some open mics, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, tell us more about that because have you found that medium yet, or is this a thing that you're still exploring and
Yeah, I think it's. I think a lot of people might empathize with. You're always in this ebb and flow and discovery, and especially if you're a multi-potentialite, multi-hyphenate, whatever the heck you want to call it, you like a lot of things. I think analysis paralysis can keep you from doing something. Like you spend so much time. Oh, is it this? Is it that? Oh, I don't know what my niche is. What am I supposed to create about? And you're just not creating. You're just wasting time. And I felt like I ended up there a lot. Like I would create for 3 months and then not for 6 months. Create for like 2 weeks and then not for like a year. So fortunately, I was able to get into commitments that made me stick to one thing. So in college, that was Cup C Poetry Slam. And so that was like a thing that I did, and that was Tin Can. I did, what's the thing called? Last Laker Standing was a comedy competition. So I did that, and that helped me stick to comedy for like probably 6 months. And then I did something else related to a different medium. But I'm still on the journey figuring it out. But I've been when I commit for an extended period of time to a specific project, I see it produce something that I'm really proud of.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. I like this. You use the kind of this idea. I don't know how you set up. I always think of it as like a polymath or someone who is kind of dipping into almost the ADHD of artistry. You're kind of hopping around and moving around, and you kind of pull these different contexts together or these mediums together through whatever medium is in that present moment. Content creation, comedy, music, rapping, dance, any sort of different thing.
I will say, in terms of like finding a medium, content creation, video has been the thing I've done the most consistent for the longest period of time because it allows that flexibility. Stand-up comedy, it's like, yeah, you could do poetry, but it's like, that's not what people really came for. I want to laugh no matter what. So unless it's a really fucking funny poem, I don't want to hear it. And then the same with poetry. It's like, oh, if it's funny, cool, but I want to hear some dark shit. I want to walk out here with like trauma from your life story.
Be triggered. I want to be triggered when I walk out.
Yeah, literally, bro. Yeah. Bro. And so video feels like that thing where you can do whatever the heck you want. It doesn't have to fit into a specific box, and if people like it, they'll engage with it.
I feel like Jake's
really
cooking some up
like,
over there.
People set their intention of coming to see something and they like expect from you as an artist to deliver on what their preconceived notion is. Like, oh, I need to laugh tonight. Like, this has to be this. But like, you couldn't even even if you brought it home to that, you'd start losing people as you go if it isn't exactly what they're expecting. So that's really awesome that you've found that medium where you can do a mix of things or do whatever you want to express yourself with.
Yeah, I think also something I've contemplated a lot is packaging versus what's actually in the box. So I think it's a lot easier to sell a stand-up comedian. Like, if you say, hey, I do stand-up, people get it. They're like, oh, wow. Like, okay, cool. I want to pay to see that. Or, hey, that's not for me. But if you say, like, oh, I'm a interdisciplinary medium transformer, it's like, what the f*** is that? So I could say I'm a stand-up comedian, and then when they actually get there, I could deliver a totally different type of experience.
But it really stood out to me in that little passage there was the packaging versus the contents in the box. Could you speak a little bit more on kind of what that means? And I feel like you were developing something there.
Yeah. It's come through a lot of trial and error and hard lessons, whether it be with attracting brand deals, like trying to sell a show, literally telling people what you do. I think you want to be unique, but you also want to work with existing understanding. I think that's why the whole, even with apps, it's like, oh, it's like Duolingo, but for content creators. It works because so many people already know what Duolingo is. They're like, oh, okay, it's probably like teaching me something somehow, or blah, blah, blah. I think what can happen with an artist is that you get so conceptual about what you do and how it's so unique and it's out of the box. No one else is doing it like this, that people then don't even understand what the hell you do. And so they can't purchase it. They can't look it up. They can't recommend it to their friends because they don't even know how to explain it. And you try to fit in a box. Like, I don't want to be put in a box. I'm not just a drummer. I'm a musician.
And interpretive dance.
Yeah. And allowing yourself to do that behind the scenes and say, behind the scenes, dude, I'm a growth marketer, poet, comedian. But if I just tell you, hey, this is a stand-up comedy show, it's going to sell way better. Until I get to that point where I just put my name and people are like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going, like, period. So.
That level of super fan, I'm there. If I see your name, I'm going. So just know that at least you have one super
Thanks,
fan.
Dude.
Yeah.
So looking back again, what was next on your journey after, you had started testing out some of this comedy and started making some of that content? Where did you go next with your art?
Yeah, so funny enough, I actually got a job and I stopped making things. I was working at a marketing agency. I had co-founded, and I just stopped making things. I was just new to the career world, trying to fit in, trying to do what I think was supposed to do, reach 500 connections on LinkedIn. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know how to move in the world of professionals. So my next step was putting all of it on pause to make money. The traditional way. And it wasn't until I think maybe it was 2018, 2019, I was actually just so miserable not making things that I was like, I gotta start again. I gotta just start making something. And my girlfriend at the time was actually like, you don't have to be like rich. You don't have to sell your business in order to create things. You don't have to make money from it. And I was like, okay. So I started making skits. I was going into schools doing poetry. I started doing open mics for comedy. I was just getting creatively expressive. And of course, at the time, I thought like, I'm going to be on SNL. I'm going to go on a comedy tour. I'm going to go on a poetry tour. But looking back, it was just networking, connecting, making friends, inspiring kids at schools. It was never about the money, and eventually those money opportunities did come. And so that was my journey in terms of like art, ratio of work to art. Like even though they can be the same thing, I think it didn't really, I thought I had to give that up in order to pursue like the capital gains.
Yeah, that duality. I also suffered at one point from that. I was, going into real estate and I'd spent a number of like a year at this point working for an agent here in town, and I had a great time doing it. But a part of me just felt suffocated. It felt like it wasn't able to really truly have an outlet, and so even something as simple as starting a business, whether you can. I know a guy, like our other co-founder, Andrew Peters, he's out here slinging Pokemon cards. And that could be enough for you to have that kind of freedom and creativity and stimulation that you're seeking. So for me, I just kind of started getting myself into a number of things and bands and projects and, writing more and being creative, making videos. And like, it was like a huge kind of burst of energy. And now I'm kind of with you too, where I find if I keep them both in somewhat, I don't like the word balance, but harmony or coexistence, things are just better for me in my life, period. I'm a better person, nicer person, that's for sure. Better temper, better mood, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I missed in that was the period before the job. The period before the job was the full-time art and struggling like crazy, but super fully creatively expressed. So I was like making like $1,500 a month because I had like one really good social media client and another small one. And then I was just doing poetry, comedy, videos. None of it was making money, really. And I don't think that was right either. So that was kind of the like, just jump, no, burn the boats, fully commit. Like, had an eviction notice on my door at one point. And even Andrew, like, we went and freaking passed out collected cans
And,
door
yep.
to door to
Door to
like
door.
meet my rent. And we sold hand warmers and
Yep.
like it was exhilarating, but it was also terrible for the mental health. So that's, I think, like you said, that harmony. I went on too far to the artist struggle. I think there's a way to get there sustainably.
That's what we're hoping to try to solve here with ArtArbor is that artist struggle. It's definitely, when everything's on the back end and you're creating in hopes of something coming in later, that's where it really puts a lot of pressure on. And I think it's consistent with a lot of journeys of artists is that we find inspiration in what we're doing and we get very passionate and excited about it, but then reality hits that, that rent is due. And then it's like, oh, well, it's like with having the job, in quotes, puts all that pressure on you to focus on that and less time to put in your creative pursuits. So it's really just that lack of balance and energy. And I think, at least for us, that like we find energy in the community and in the sense that like everybody is on this journey and that they're trying to figure it out and navigate it, but not only can we get more out of each other by having these types of conversations and really getting into the specific details of what we go through on that journey, that's how we can really pull together. So I think that's step number one. What we're trying to do is build the community through a network of artists, and then next priority after that is how can we get income for artists? How can we make that more sustainable and front load it versus back loading it? But to go back to kind of inspiration and the role of community, I was just wondering how that's helped you before in your time.
Yeah. I think now it's been good. I would also say there's a difference between community for community's sake and community for creating purposes. I found that I was a part of a few YouTube groups. They have like a YouTube Shorts Discord, and they're like, it's all YouTube Shorts creators. And I got with a group of them, and it was like, hey, let's make pizza. Let's like go bowling. And I was like, oh, that's fun. But then there was other groups of them who were like, hey guys, who's trying to like do a video a week for the next 12 weeks? Who's trying to like post, whatever, every day for 30 days? Hey, how do you guys, who does long form, who does short form? I found that to be way more beneficial for me in terms of art, because if I want to just have friends, I think one, it naturally comes from like doing something with people, even marching band. It's not like we all hung out because we were in band and then it was like, let's go do other things. But like, if I want to just make friends with someone, I might go hang out with my family or other friends. I don't want it to sound harsh, but like I didn't join the YouTube Shorts Discord so I could be friends with everyone here. I think that'll be a natural osmosis from doing the thing that we all have in common. So I think it's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, building on a network of accountability versus just a network of my personal side of things. I mean, sometimes you can get something from both, but yeah, your intention of joining a community or group like that was, like you said, not to go bowling. It was to learn and grow and to, try to find out something for someone else. So I think that's definitely important advice is, who you surround yourself with and, taking that feedback that, hey, why we have such limited time and limited attention. I'm not going to spend it on this if that's not going to help me grow.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I met some amazing friends, like some people to this day that I stay in touch with. We make videos together. We still like, hey, can you look at my thumbnail? What do you think about this? I think that has been huge, but almost like networking. It's better to have one amazing connection, one amazing accountability partner than like a whole Discord full of 10,000 people you don't even talk with.
I like that distinction between like the artist community for artists and leveling up each other, ironing, sharpening iron. A lot of the great Impressionist era artists, all hung out at the same cafe in Paris. They all come to get together and just spread ideas, crossed art, canvassing or painting, music, dance, and then there's these hubs, and we've talked about that in previous podcasts. Areas like there's places we all need to show up for each other, and support each other and one another. And there's that other community too of like people who are spending their time, energy, and resources to consume art publicly, buying artwork for their house and whatnot. And for me, that community sometimes has like discrepancies because of centralized powers. For example, here, like Davos is a huge, they've got a arena, the Van Andel Arena, and that'd be like an example of centralized power in the sense of they have the attention of people to come and consume art. But maybe that local guy, there seems like to be this kind of discrepancy on it kind of fizzling down through the structure of art and consumption. It seems like for me, and that's what I want to try to do with what we're doing with ArtArbor, is working around and getting away from these centralized powers and decentralizing it to be your localized community versus this idea of like, cool, now I've got to give money to one of the richest families in my area to go see this piece of art, which is, a concert or a dance show or whatever,
Yeah.
Or even Art Prize in
That's
general
powerful.
is run by them.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. What were you saying, Nishan?
No, I just think that's a really beautiful mission. I think that's where things are going as well. There's so many pockets of the internet now compared to what it used to be. Like we used to all see the same commercials, we used to all see the same shows, but now you can love this cooking creator that I've never heard of because he makes vegan food and your girlfriend's vegan. It's like I would never know that, and he can be a full-time creator making 300 grand a year, and I don't even know he exists. So I think Arbor is like jumping on something that is naturally happening, and bigger companies are obviously starting to realize that.
Yeah, speak on that kind of evolution of the internet and individuality. In what ways have you seen this sort of niche down community building evolve? Because I totally agree. I see it too.
Yeah, it's tough because I think so I make a lot of comedy, poetry, things like that, right? Those are entertainment based. They're not as much education based. I think it's a lot easier of a framework to look at education. Like, oh, okay, I used to, pay 20 grand to go to college, but now I can actually learn from so and so. His thing is $500, and now within a month, I can actually launch Facebook ads for apps, and I never had to go to college. It's like decentralize the education. That's a lot easier to look at. I think entertainment is really hard because I think it's hard to make good stories, and right now budgets, like the level of quality that a animation studio like Pixar can put out versus Cheryl who's at home, like she knows Blender and she makes some stuff. It's like, oh, it'd be hard for her to put out like a 2 hour production and send it out to a bunch of people. So I think that industry, entertainment, is a little bit behind. I think AI is helping with that. I think people like myself who write stories and even get teams, you see like Darman, even though those are super cheesy, like King Batch, like that one guy. I think people are starting to make longer form stories. Popping the Balloon Challenge, she got her own show. Like there's just like, I think it's still very centralized right now. But the entertainment will eventually start to look more like the education space has.
And I think entertainment's traditionally been very centralized because there was no other alternative. And I think that it's evolved recently. Like if you look at what most people do, they watch Netflix, they watch Disney Plus, all these streaming platforms, and those are still, even though Netflix is kind of the new kid on the block relative to other media empires, that there's that sense of centralization there, that they control the narrative and what people are interested, what they're talking about. And I think, like you said, that just has to do with the budget that they have available to them. So I think that's where it has to take, is that people are getting that same value that they would get from one of those platforms, and they're getting it delivered at that much lower cost, which, on the platforms that people are engaging with, YouTube, TikTok, etc., then the cost is essentially free to them if you are okay with what they do with your data and ads and all that great stuff. Ooh, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's like that. I really like that framework that, with education, that people put that price tag on higher education because they felt like that was what they needed, to be credentialed. But now it's almost broke down to the point where, as long as you have the skills for a lot of jobs, then it doesn't matter what your resume says, what society has earmarked as success, that you just can deliver on what people want, and inputs and outputs, right? And it outputs what they are, what people are willing to value. So that's definitely where I think I see entertainment going soon. And I think TikTok has really broken the model. I've also seen like people are watching more YouTube than they watch anything else now. Like that's the number one platform for content consumption. So that's definitely democratizing that availability of content.
Yeah, I think I don't know if you guys heard of Drewski? Drewski, he's do you guys know Kai Cenat? He's streamer. So he done a lot with
Oh,
him,
I do know
Kevin Hart.
Drewski. Yes, I do know
Yeah,
Drewski.
so he did a show recently called Could Have Been Love, and it's like a trash like love show, right? And it's long form. The production quality is maybe a little bit worse than like traditional TV, but not like marginally. It's like right there. And this thing, he had his own commercials. He had his own like the reach, the views. Like each of these videos has millions of views, and they're like maybe like 30 minutes, an hour. Yeah, they're like an hour long, right?
Dang.
And you could see like millions and millions of views. So I think this is a really good example of where entertainment could go, where he's just dropping his own show, and people love it so much, and he owns that. He doesn't own it, obviously. It's YouTube, but yeah.
Drewski is so funny. I don't even know. He's like gone viral in so many different shorts, and you just see him all over the place. So it's so funny that you said his name, and I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. As soon as I saw his face, I was like, oh, I've seen him on Theo Von. I saw some of those shorts from his Could Have Been Love. Just crap. They're hilarious, but they're definitely. It's like a trash TV. Sure, let's say that.
Yeah.
I guess
If you yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, where do you see things going as they are right now? And then I guess an alternative to that could be, where do you want things to go if it was the direction that you wanted it to go in with content creation?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, where I see things going, it's really interesting how things have played out with like short form video. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I think a lot of people aren't making a lot of money from short form, including the platforms. So I don't know if like a few months ago, YouTube announced that shorts now are up to 3 minutes. And so then, of course, TikTok, I think this was a few years ago, they put TikToks up to 10 minutes. Maybe it's
Hmm.
even longer now.
I
So
hope not.
I think it started, remember, it was like, oh, this video can only be 7 seconds on Vine, then 15, then 30, then one, then like it keeps going up. And so I think I see that pattern and I'm like, now more people are watching YouTube on TV. I
Mm.
don't see it out of the picture that TikTok does something with TV. Um, I don't know.
Mm.
I think the long form content is a money maker that people just cannot ignore.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so I think that's one big one. I think the short form will always be there, but the long form is having like a resurgence. Um, and then where I think I see things going, of course, AI. We always want to talk about that. I think we see the AI creators, we see the AI live streamers, the AI voice clones with like 11 Labs and all that stuff. There's something there that's missing though, because there's a AI backlash right now, especially in the artist community. A lot of people don't fuck with AI art. They're like, I'm gonna unfollow you. I saw on Duolingo, they were like, wow, thank you for hiring a real artist to do this. Like people are pissed about AI art. So I think there's something that has to happen there. I don't know what it's gonna be, but in the art community, there's a gap. People don't fuck with AI art unless it's been really unless it's been treated as its own medium, not copying someone else's work.
So where do you? I kind of missed it there. Where do you want it to go? Where do you kind of? I think you could really the scape of where it is. And I have nothing there I could argue with. Where do you want it to go?
I think where I'd like to see it to go. Okay, so I have a framework that I came up with, and I came up with this a few years ago. It's called IREP. Ideate, record, edit, publish. And then you could put a at the end, analyze. So Aripa or what? Maybe that sounds better. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
I like it.
but okay, the A is at the end. So for analyze, I think in terms of tools right now, we have a lot for ideation. Um, I can. Oh, I like the thumbs up bubble. Um, we have a lot of tools right now for ideation. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever. We have a lot of tools for analyzing YouTube Studio, Substack Studio, TikTok Studio, and then editing. We even have quite a bit. So CapCut, Opus Clip, but I don't think it's as much as the ideate and analyze. And then especially for recording, there needs to be an easier way for people to record. I notice a lot of people have a lot of ideas and they never film them, or they get the idea mostly there, but they start to get in the way of their mind and like. So I'd like to see more innovation around recording. I don't know how, but I'd love to see recording videos becoming easier. Maybe the Ray-Ban glasses help with that. I don't know. I'd like to see more innovation around editing. I think a lot of people
Mm.
hate editing. Editing sucks. And most of the tools that are AI editing right now still suck unless it's like creating clips. Um, and then I'd like to see maybe some innovation around publishing. Like it'd be amazing. I think the Ray-Bans are a good example. Like turn them on, I'm recording, and then if I could hit something and it automatically edited it up and then just published it, like it'd be amazing. So I think that's where I'd like to see the innovation happening. And then from like a global perspective, I'd like to see a standard. And my wife finished the coding boot camp, and I've learned a lot about the standards that developers have put in place. APIs, all APIs work the same. If it's a REST API, there's a certain schema that you use to interact with that API. I think a standard like that is missing in the creator space. In traditional entertainment, you pay actors this much. This is how it goes. The director does this. Da, 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 da. It's such the Wild West. We need a standard for creators, how much they get paid, how they create, the standard of the assets they need to deliver, a little bit of standardization.
Yeah, I think as something becomes more of an industry, that you definitely need those terms, because you need to make sure that what you're putting in is fair coming out on the back end. But I want to dial in again to what you're saying with your process that you've came up with, and this framework of how to do things. If that could be replicated in the platform, that would unleash a lot of creativity from people, because we talk a lot about the things that artists don't want to deal with, and editing definitely is one of them. I mean, even this podcast has to be edited. If an AI could come in and be like, take out all the dead spaces that we don't want, and bleep this out, and put these together. If you could just like prompt an AI to do that, that's an example of where I think AI is a productivity hack versus a drain on human creativity. We talk a lot on the pod here about human intelligence versus artificial intelligence. I think that is where we can leverage AI in this instance, is taking those non-productive moments, because that's not going to lead to more art and more creativity, more innovation, more expression by just sitting there and having to edit a video. Like, that's where AI really can kick in and do its job. Or a platform that you could, I kind of picked up from what you're saying, like, what if you could bring more of these tools into one platform? Like, you were ideating something on a video, and the platform could help you, prompt you into recording something. Like, okay, now let's record. That would be really cool if it was like, I want to do this, and then it's like, okay, let's record a clip of this, and it could edit it all together for you at the end. That would make it a lot easier and a lower barrier, I think, for people to put something out there.
That would be sick. That would be sick. I think the closest tool on the market at the moment is CapCut. They have this AI vlog feature where you take your videos from a certain event, upload them, and then it'll create a vlog out of it, and it'll even do the voice. And so it still kind of sucks, but it's really close. But I'm imagining what you said of like, hey, you put in the whole script and everything, and then it's like, hey, Jake, record a video of yourself outside, and you just like this. All right, now get a video of the shoe that you just designed. Okay, now open up the shoe and pull it up, and all right, now hit generate, and then that would be
that would be nuts.
That would be nuts. Like a director of sorts for whatever you're trying to produce. A video for my shoes, video for my art, a video for this and that, to do this. And it's like, great, because you do that with ChatGPT right now, and it's a script, and it's confusing. It usually is pretty bad. It's usually super long. And it's like, but maybe it's something that allows for the creativity to happen, like you said, make a video about this. And it still tells you maybe a little guidance, but you're still kind of making it up on your own there. Versus it being like this structured, in the box that this AI created. That could be really huge, because talking to a lot of artists, they're not really taking advantage of content creation on these mediums out here, these interfaces, YouTube, all the other social media, and I think there's been more that come up too. But it's like, if they knew, they always ask, what do I do? How do I do it? If there was an app that brought you from 0 to like 5 and out of 10, it would lower that barrier for some people, and then all of a sudden now more people are becoming aware of your art, hopefully also helping with your abundance in your life and monetary fulfillment.
That's a great idea, guys. It's really good.
If anyone's out there listening, free advice here from us.
Well, we could run. So something we've talked about offline was the app that I created. It's still in its infancy right now. We're just working with test users. but it's seeking to help with this problem. It's not as sophisticated as what we just came up with, but it's one step in the right direction through accountability. That part we talked about of gamifying the process. What if you got XP every time you posted? What if there was a leaderboard of you and your friends to see who's been the most consistent? What if you could congratulate Andrew every time he posted and say, dude, great job, without having to go check his channel every single day? So I think there's so much innovation opportunity here. And yeah, I'm excited to see where things go from here.
I thought you were gonna be like, "Oh man, that sounds like a great idea." Oh, actually, I already made that app. No, you just like plugged yourself. This is all a big setup. No, yeah, feel free to share your screen. As CreatorQuest, as someone who's been beta user in CreatorQuest, it definitely solves a lot of this problem. It's helped me a ton with creating more consistently and just the accountability gamification on the level that it's at now has already been super helpful. So I'm super excited to see where Nishan takes it to that next level and maybe becomes this all-in-one everything you need app. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. So let me share this first. This is where we started. So
Nice.
this is all public, so you can find people's channel IDs. I'm not showing you anything you can't get on the internet. But this is the first whatever 10 people we had as a part of the challenge. And basically what we would do is send out this leaderboard every week for 10 weeks. And each time someone posted a short, they got 10 XP. And then every time they posted a long form video, they got 40 XP. And the transformation that happened here is we had people who never posted a video in some people never posted a video, but we had people, let's say, who didn't post for 6 months, post 12 weeks in a row. And I think that's when I knew we were onto something, because I think what would be more interesting is to actually show my channel. So when I started this challenge, I had the biggest gaps. It had been like 6 months since
Yeah.
I had posted. And if we zoom this out,
Ooh, getting the back end here, everyone. Exclusive content right here.
Uh,
Only found in one place.
Under
One
the
place.
hood.
Show what's under the hood.
yeah. So if we do 365, okay. So you could see here that about in the last 365, I did 7 videos here, had a little bit of a gap. How big is that? That was pretty consistent for a few. Yeah, this is actually pretty good. Maybe yeah, June 29th. This is pretty good. And then I stopped for this one went out in August, and then this one came out in November. And so then I did November, December, November, and then nothing until January. So I think it might even be better to zoom out a little bit more, but you could see that, let's just say lifetime. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Oh, it's a big ask. Poosh.
Oh man. Yeah, not as helpful, but you could see even with the views, like 3 videos, right? And then it's like a huge gap. So if I do that versus the last, let's say 90 days, just as an example,
Wow.
you could see like every single week. Yeah, no, I haven't missed a single week. And now I'm starting to get some of those benefits, but it's like the consistency has been huge, and it eventually starts to pay off. And this revenue is shorts doesn't pay a lot of money. But what did happen is I started getting way more brand deal emails, because your emails on YouTube and of course on other platforms. So people started reaching out to me. Like I have a deal that I'm doing right now. It's about $750 for like one video, and I don't post it. And then I have another one that I did that was like about $400. So it's like it starts to add up decently without. I have a full-time job, so it's not bad. It's like about $300 a month in this revenue, and then about, I would say anywhere from like 1,000 to 2,000 in terms of like brand deals. And I'm like not focusing on it much at all. This is probably like 3 to 7 hours a week.
Mm. Mm.
So not a bad side hustle for sure.
Yeah. And that is the great news about, those who consistently make content, and you find some growth there. That could be another just income stream for you to put on top of whatever else you're doing. Um, yeah, that can be helpful for, I think, a lot of people when they see like, oh, there's many ways to actually leverage social media and my digital footprint. Maybe I should really double down on this. And I too, was partook in this, and for me, my biggest thing as a metric is just views, like getting views. And I basically went from getting like on my shorts, during this most recent CreatorQuest 2-week challenge. The beginning, a lot of my shorts would get 10, 20, maybe 30, maybe 50 views, long form, 10, maybe double digit, about 10 views. By the end, I was getting like between 30 and 50 of my long form views, and I was averaging like 300 to 600 views on my shorts. So I had a huge jump in, and I wasn't even really optimizing by any means any of that. So I could have easily been at feeding itself more, but yeah, just something like that for what that accountability gamification. Even with the simple as a text in an Excel spreadsheet, like that was enough for me to push me to that next. Because man, when that weekly thing hits and I get that update, and I see I lost my spot from third, now I'm down to fourth or fifth or whatever, a little bit back of your head, you're like, dang man, I gotta at least show up a little bit better. Like I could do better than this. So, yeah,
Yeah.
what is this here?
So, as you were saying, like after we started to see more results, I decided to build an app version of it. So we have like this feed, and this is just test users right now. These are all real people, but we could see Andrew right here has 30 XP,
So,
and we can go check it out and see like, oh, he's on a 3-week streak right now, and eventually we'll be able to see more videos and stuff. And then we have a feed that's under construction, but this will be the feed of Andrew just posted, Nishan just posted, Jake just posted, and then on the homepage, I want this to be a graph, but right now it's kind of like your progress for the week. I have 1 day and 11 hours to get in my video for this week.
nice.
But yeah, I think that really goes to your mission of making things more fun and educational, because people are learning more about themselves, what they're doing, how they can improve from others. And yeah, just gamification makes anything more fun than just sitting there and hoping that something's going to happen. But if you can really see it happening, that really can make a difference in somebody's inspiration and motivation towards their goals there. And that's the power of a community for sure. And definitely not a community of people that just want to go bowling, right? That's a community of people that are bettering themselves, making some more income on the side, really getting out there in the world and pushing each other to do more.
Nothing against bowling, by the way. Not attacking bowling.
You're not attacking the bowling community.
Yeah, I think there's other things I would add to that of like problems that get solved are keeping up with your friends who are other creators without subscribing to their channel. Like I could subscribe to Andrew's channel, but the odds of YouTube being like, "Hey man, here's Andrew's newest video," and maybe I don't care that much about breath work at this day, but I still want to support him. And so I can go into CreatorQuest, see what he's been up to, and be like, dude, great thumbnail on your most recent video, without hoping that YouTube is going to put it up on my news feed.
Yeah, that is a good point about even just hitting the notification bell or just checking in on people, searching them digitally, and making that effort to support whatever they're doing. I do that. I don't even mind digging down into someone's a year old post and liking it and then showing up. I'm not out here trying to like get you to follow me back. I'm just, I want to support you. If I like a piece of content, it's a year old, like, I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna comment on it. I want to support people like that because I don't think it's it's not a, like you said, just go out and make it the effort, because most people, myself included, from time to time, I'm just subject to whatever is fed to me, and I'm making the most of it. But it's like, it's so crazy how much we'll use me to Deshaun's account. I almost always interact with all of your posts. So you'd think wherever I'm at, it would feed me. Oh man, he likes it. but for still, I don't get it. I have to go and like search you and look you up, and I mean, it's a little bit frustrating, but making an extra effort, I think, is just a great way to support the community of artistry digitally.
I think that's going to be a theme going forward too with decentralization, because if you think about what everything you just said, that the fact that they're deciding on these Web 2 platforms what you're going to see, what they're creating this narrative for you with the algorithm, that you're not really taking ownership of yourself and others as much, because you're just subject to whatever they think that you're going to be interested in based on your past performance. But it ignores that whole fact that, yeah, despite you maybe not engaging with that type of content that your friend is making, that you really value what they're doing and want to support them, and there's no infrastructure for that. So it's really cool to see that
Oh no,
we have a solution in progress here for that.
hell yes.
Well said. Well said. That was poetic.
Well, that means a lot coming from you. So
Thanks.
Yeah, it should.
with all of these things that you've done and what you're continuing to working on, we're never quite where we want to be in the moment, but you look back and see what you have done. What advice would you give to your younger self, looking back on everything?
Keep creating consistently. And I would almost bring up the 1% better thing. We've all heard it before, but I think it's really hard to actually do. And I think you guys are doing it with this podcast. Start and then get better. They say form the habit, then optimize the habit. I think so many of us, they talk about taste versus ability. We see amazing content. We see amazing videos. We see amazing comedians. We see amazing things. And we're like, oh, he wasn't that good. Oh, I feel like the animation wasn't that quality on the new Disney movie. Like, oh, I missed the blah, blah, blah. And then you try to draw something. You're like, bro, this is trash. This is trash. You edit a video. You're like, the amount of times I've edited something, looked at it and been like, dog, I shouldn't even post this. Like, this is trash. That's okay. Still put it out. Still keep going. Maybe you don't put it out, but like, I think putting it out makes it accountability. Like, you're putting it out to other people. There were so many times I started and then I stopped, and I'm like, dude, where would I be if I never stopped? I have no idea. I have no idea where I would be if I never stopped. That would be my number one piece of advice to my younger self, is like, commit to consistent action and you will blow away your expectations. I never thought I would have a YouTube plaque. Like, did I want one? Yeah. Did I think it would happen? Not really. But it happened, and I think it's only because of not stopping to make things.
Don't stop. Keep creating. I love that.
Yeah. I think it's Austin Kleon who said the purpose of creating is to be able to keep creating. Or the infinite game. Like, the purpose of the game is to stay in the game.
Yeah. I love that. Sometimes it feels I kind of feel it there, you kind of maybe say get out of the game or you're not so consistent. And then you just it becomes like this, almost you stopped yourself from doing it mentally, kind of like to the, oh, this is trash, I shouldn't post it. Or and I've made stuff too and not posted it. And for me, my habit was at first was just capturing things and being like not taking that pressure off myself to post it. And then posting became a lot easier because I started the first habit. Oh, I recorded, I captured. Now I can, on my downtime, I'll be like, oh, look at that, I made a video like a month ago. I didn't post it yet. Oh, let me post it. And you're not putting that pressure on, like, is it good? Is it bad? It's like, I don't know. Is it good or bad? I'm not sure if it's good or bad. Like literally talking about, competency drawing. No offense to Gary Vee, but his first series one V friends were pretty stick figured, and those sold pretty well. He did pretty good with that. They were pretty much a hit. And because it was his, they were like, "Oh my god, he made this." So for you creating out there, someone could just consume it, enjoy it greatly, simply because you did it.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I didn't address with CreatorQuest, which you can go sign up right now at app.creatorquest.io. Um, yeah, and you can find me, DM me or whatever, say, hey, this is trash. A lot of updates coming. But is a different feedback loop.
Mm, I like that. Mm.
Jake touched on it. Dude, I don't know whether a video is going to get 10,000 views or a million or zero. And there's times I put out something, we've all done it, and we're like, dude, this is going to take over the fucking internet. And it gets one view. And it's an emotional roller coaster. And that's part of why I stopped and started so much, is because it's depressing. But with CreatorQuest, you get XP every time you post, so you get a reward no matter if it's a viral video or zero views. So I think even if it's not through something like CreatorQuest, like finding a way to get consistent positive feedback from what you're doing along the way, or you're not getting that dopamine hit and it becomes an addiction. Like, hopefully I get views, hopefully I get views. Did it get likes? Did it get views? Did it go up? Did it go down? It's like, no. Just I created, I'm proud.
Mm. That's powerful. You said change the feedback loop. I'm gonna make a statement. Change the feedback loop. Change your life. But there's a level of like, for me, when I changed my feedback loop, not only from to use CreatorQuest, but to getting that XP, but also like just recording, just sending it out, not even really thinking much about it, and that being the success, that being the positive feedback loop, it does significantly change. It's the like Terry Crews mentality of just go to the gym. You don't have to work out that day. Just get to the gym, and eventually you'll do it enough times. You'll start just lifting. You'll start interacting with the environment. So for me, changing that feedback loop is actually something I've enjoyed doing more of without really even thinking about that whole phrase, change the feedback loop. So I love that. Mm.
I think that's really powerful just in terms of supporting others too, that we don't put enough intention and emphasis into like, I'm proud of what you're doing and I respect what you're doing and I'm interested in what you're doing, in that community. And I think this gives a standardization, like we were talking about earlier. We need to standardize things. There needs to be a standard for how to do that, because I think people don't really understand the impact of appreciation that people have on them, and having a positive feedback loop instead of a negative feedback loop can really change your perspective. Yeah, speaking of positive feedback and negative feedback loops, let's talk about the money feedback loops that we have with creating things. I know that we wanted to touch on that before we wrapped here. So what are our thoughts on that? Like, let's start with the negative. Where is it? I mean, it's pretty obvious that, more money would help you feel that less of that negative feedback loop, but let's dial into that. Like what is that negative loop on money?
So I did content creation full time for 8 months. And then I made the decision to get a job. It was actually at vidIQ. So I worked there for about a year. And that 8 months was the craziest time of my life. Because I had really great months and I had really bad months. And it showed me the importance, if you're being a full-time content creator at least, that it's an algorithm independent business. Because if a video did really well, I actually got paid way more, like $1,500 for one video. Like, no, not a brand deal, like just $1,500 just for one video. And it was on TikTok, and it's like, wow, one video, $1,500, and then add in like brand deals and things on top of that, and it starts to become really good. But then the opposite was also true. Like, a video that I thought should have made $1,500, but it made $2. Now that's an emergency situation. You know? So, I think an algorithm independent business. So what I started doing more of was UGC at the time, which you don't have to post. And since I had a good content style, I could get a premium for it. Because UGC, you could some people charge like $100, $200 for a video. But I was having some videos be like $700 because when people put them in their ad account, they're basically paying you to create an ad that they'll run on like Meta or TikTok. It actually got results, and they're like, oh wow, hey, we want to hire you again to make another one for 500 to
Mm-hmm.
$700. So that was a really good one. And then the other good one was consulting. Like, that's why I got into growth marketing again, because I'm like, this is an emotional roller coaster, man. um and then even the app now, like, I see that as something that could have scale the way videos do, but I don't need people to get watch a video in order for me to get paid. I can solve a problem for them in a different way. So that's the one thing I have. And you see it a lot. Even if you get consistent views, you're going to have anxiety of like, dude, what if this next video doesn't work? What if this next video? Look at Mr. Beast, Feastables, view stats,
Mm-hmm.
Ali Abdal, courses. Like, it doesn't have to be a course, it doesn't have to be a snack, but you have to have an algorithm independent part of your business as the main revenue source.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting when, you have that anxiety and that fear, it can be a motivator or a demotivator in terms of what you're going to do next. Because if you had something out there that you thought was going to do well and it didn't, then it almost, at least for some people, pushes you to make that next thing where you're like, well, now I really need to do level up and do something here. Whereas, like, let's say the platform just gave you a flat reward for everything you posted. Like, I got $5 for every, whatever. Every video I post gets $100. Then you would maybe not have any drive to keep going. You would just keep putting it up there, not getting better, not wanting to get more out of it. And it almost could lead to less innovation, less creativity by doing that. And I think that's like the blessing and the curse of it, right? Is that, yeah, there's that potential for there to really be a great reward out there for something that could even be unexpected. It could happen at any time, right? But that like feedback that you get from the platform drives you to do your next thing. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, I call that like selling your soul to the algorithm, because something that also happens that I think you touched on is you see something perform really well, but you really don't want to do that anymore.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, you see this, there's a guy, Stephen He, I don't know how the fuck he does it. Basically, he does nothing but Asian jokes, Asian dad jokes, and he's Asian. And
Okay, I know
he's
that
been
guy.
doing it
Yeah.
for years of Asian dad content. And I'm just like, dude, I had one of my best performing videos originally was, yeah, this is him. This is him.
Mm-hmm.
Most of his stuff, like, you look at his top performing videos, it's all about if Apple was Asian, if this was Asian, if the Asian dad difficulty mode, ghosts don't haunt Asians, right? And I have so much respect for him. And I could have easily seen myself going that path. Like, I had a series that was where it was parents, like Christmas when I'm a parent, allowance when I'm a parent. And so I could have just done parent content. And I'm just like, dude, that's just not what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the other reason why, is if you have two options. If you're like, I have to make consistent money, sell your soul to the algorithm, or have an algorithm independent business.
I think most people, well, some people, I mean, he, like in this example, Steven might be like perfectly happy with that. We don't really know per se, but maybe that's freedom for him in terms of like, this is like what he really finds to be enjoyable and funny, and that's what, and he gets paid to do it, and he keeps doing it. But then you get put in a box where it's like, I know with some creators, it's like they're stuck to that persona that they've created forever. They can never get outside of that either. I think one of the best examples is the Hawk Tuah girl, how like she just is known for that one viral clip, and it's like she's trying to do all these other things, but like she'll never be able to like break out of that like box that she's been put in. And it's interesting how the algorithm and the platforms like can create this whole persona around you, because then other people start posting about you and building a brand for you that you didn't necessarily want to build. Now, in her case, I think she's just trying to take advantage of the attention that she had, but
Smart. Yeah.
it's like versus like someone that spent all this time and investment and the analytics and getting into it, and then someone like that just takes off. It's like, well, what am I doing here, right? But
Yeah. I think to add to that, the morning routine guy is a good example of how it can like change your life for the better. With him like sharing Ashton, whatever his name is,
that fitness influencer with that water, whatever that was, that water that blew up, that sold out. Yeah,
Saratoga water.
Yeah,
yep.
Dude,
my gosh.
That, and then another one. Another thing I was gonna say to just like close the loop on that was like you can go viral for almost anything. So if you can intentionally decide what that is, look at the businesses, dude, who go viral and then sell out of all their. Dude, they're like millionaires now. Like their business is out of stock because they went viral versus going viral because you made some 6-second meme talking about how, it's crazy.
Yeah, I want to circle back a little bit on this, like in the box, out of the box creativity, content creation. There is that level of like, you almost just kind of have to roll with the punches in a way. Like if this kind of thing makes you money and gets you views, if you can then pair that with, oh wow, that's cool. That was fun. Little hearts there. Hey, if somehow you can get, I'll make a different one. If you can pair that thing you don't like to do, but you're viral and people look for you and that whatnot, what your brand is built around, and you can somehow pivot that to either, like you said earlier, with a product or a thing that can then make you more money, and you can kind of pivot off of that, or you can do just separate things entirely, or just enough to pay the bills, you fit in the box, and then the rest is out of the box. I think there's a possibility to work with it, but it can be if you're just like, all right, this is my box now, and now I'm just gonna do it to make the money. I like kind of earlier, like I talked about suffocation, like if it's inevitable suffocation to your creativity will not being expressed will just affect the rest of your life deeply. So if you're in the box, I strongly encourage anyone to help find ways to get out of the box to help your soul flourish like a flower.
Second YouTube channels can help with that, I feel like, because you're also right. And I think, Jake, you brought this up too. It might be better to be Asian dad jokes all the time than to work at a company I hate. It's like, if I'm going to do something I hate, it might as well be on my own schedule and be slightly funny to me.
So you mentioned having an algorithm independent business. If you're trying to grow, and by grow, I really mean, grow, not necessarily focus on making money. How do you really focus on that if that's not your KPI? Is like, how much money am I making? Like, what would be that KPI, and how would you define that algorithm independent business?
Yeah, I think there's infinite potential. You guys mentioned there's people who have a business, whether that be a service-based business, consulting, courses, apps, like art, like shirts, farmers market, soap. There's infinite businesses that people could have, and YouTube or Instagram or TikTok can be a great marketing channel. I would just say if it's as long as like you're not overly dependent on that specific source of revenue that's so unpredictable. Like, if you run a marketing agency, for example, the clients pay every month. Maybe you lose a client, but it's not like you'll wake up one day and now all your clients are gone. unless it's like COVID or something. But it's also not like you'll wake up the next day and like there's 30 new clients in your inbox. Like
Mhm.
that's the unpredictability of the algorithm.
Mhm.
Yeah, with the distribution of art, I think it's important to diversify, like you were saying, that you need to have all these other mediums, maybe in person at a farmer's market or at some trade event, or, really, I think it's having a mix of online and offline channels of distribution for your art so that you're reaching people in different places. And I think, with calling back to way earlier, we were talking about how long form attention is more where the trend is headed towards that, you know, it's going to be harder to reach people with ads and short form things that are in your face because people are kind of cutting through all of that and they're really, getting into what they're interested in. So it's going to be harder, I think, as a marketer or as an artist or a creative or anyone online to get in front of people because, you know, if an ad interrupts my 15-minute YouTube video, I'm going to be like, skip, 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 or check
Mhm.
my phone or something else besides engage with that, right? So, aside from like product placement or some kind of like integrated brand deal and in long form content, it's really hard to get in front of people when that's where it's going. So, hopefully that means that it'll be more in-person channels, those collaborative community events and things, getting in front of people that way instead of it being an ad or a short clip or an image or something that's in front of people.
Agreed. Like the boom of in-person events has been insane ever since like after everyone started to get out of their homes and stuff. That's been so cool to see.
Yeah, it's like this thing was taken away and then we realized how much we enjoyed it and loved it, and I hope people continue with that momentum of going out and I hope businesses make efforts to have those in-person events, do those things with their parking lot and take up some space and have a couple vendors show up, and I hope too people are more curious and we can start as a artist community figuring out ways to leverage other platforms like web 2 things and web 3 to once again just create this community like you said earlier about ironing sharpening iron and being together and raising all of our vibrations and bank balances at the same time. I think we together can create this brighter future, or and we believe that 1,000%, or else we would have literally created this company at all. So,
With that, I think that is a wrap for us today. Really good
wonderful.
conversation, really good insights. I'm looking forward to see what happens with CreatorQuest. We'll have that
Mhm.
link down below if you want to check it out and support, as well as various ways to find all this content that we've discussed today. You definitely got to check it out. Between the comedy and the skits and the poetry and everything, all and above, all your art. We're so appreciative for you, Nishan. Really glad to have you on the program. Episode 10 of Rooted today. And that's everyone's homework. Go check out all this stuff just because it's worth watching. That's why.
Mhm.
So, for all of you out there, what were our lessons today? It was embrace the trash. You gotta put that stuff out there. Um, post consistently. Start
Mhm.
posting. Start a podcast. If you're listening to us, you're enjoying this. You can do it too. It's not too hard. Um, and just be a part of a community and maybe go bowling. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever makes your day. All right.
Yep.
That
Peace.
is episode 10. Goodbye.